See if we can get your snips. If your baseline criteria is, do I believe in it or not, then it goes back to this quote of being like, why the fuck would you need a secondary testimony? Why the hell would you commit to this crazy social media cadence or this crazy, like, play the algorithm game or this? I say it's crazy, not in nature of you're crazy. I say in comparison to, I am going to try and play the game, whether I believe it or not, versus just speak when I have full conviction and belief in something. This one sounds crazier to me. Welcome in. Stay a while. We are back to looking at an essay from Emerson and his most popular essay, Self-Reliance. And I did a video on this completely unplanned earlier, and it seems to have gotten some traction. So I will link that here, where that video was talking a lot about, with the exercise of self-trust, you can access new powers, right? This video is going to be pulling another excerpt from Self-Reliance, and it is going to be one of those that, in my mind, something that can easily stand in the way of self-trust, and we're going to apply it to the modern world. So strap yourself in. It's a little bit of a longer excerpt. I'll put it up on screen so you can read it for yourself, and then we'll just kind of talk about my opinion on it. So it goes this way. I do not wish to expiate, but to live. My life is for itself and not for a spectacle. I much prefer that it should be of a lower strain, so it be genuine and equal, than that it should be glittering and unsteady. I know that for myself it makes no difference whether I do or forbear those actions which are reckoned excellent. I cannot consent to pay for a privilege where I have intrinsic right. Few and mean as my gifts may be, I actually am, and do not need for my own assurance or the assurance of my fellows any secondary testimony. And my mind immediately goes to social media, right? We're looking at secondary testimony. What's he talking about there? He's talking about other people's opinions, right? Looking at, my life is for itself and not for a spectacle. What's this whole, we talk about that Instagram life, right? What you see on Instagram is not real. So let's talk about this, because you may be of a completely right mind, and I don't say that in a judgmental way. I just mean as like, you are actively fighting against trying to sell your soul to this algorithm, right? But then you either have a business to run or a life to discover or what it may be, and you look at some algorithm, whether it's Instagram, LinkedIn, any sort of thing, and you start trying to figure out how to game it, right? Play by its rules so you can do well and all that sort of stuff. And I bring this up not as that's a bad thing. It is never a bad thing to try and get good at something that can be useful. It would be not as valuable if you tried to play the game with the intent of ego, some sort of like, just give me, right? Like, I want to game the algorithm so well that I will do anything to get views or likes or whatever, even if I don't believe in it, right? That is not useful. But it's way more about the idea of needing this spectacle, right? In many ways, we become monsters of our own selves, because we're quite literally, we look at it and we say, oh, look at that person wearing, having an Instagram life. That's not real life. That's not real life. That's not real life. And then we go and we put only our best selves online, right? We go and share only the successes and not the failures, for fear of, well, I don't want to overshare. I read an email from someone who, talks about personal branding with their clients and all that sort of stuff. And that was the topic of the email. I don't want to overshare. And I think that is such a fascinating concept, from the idea of almost needing validation. Like it, in many ways, it's only oversharing through the lens of other people's eyes, right? Now, I am not saying everything you could share should be shared, because not all of it is valuable to other people. If you were going to put it public, then my base criteria, you can take it or leave it, is if I'm going to put something public, the only rule is I have to believe in it, and then my desire is that it's useful, right? So I have a rule. I have to have full faith and trust and belief in what I'm saying. And then my hope is that somebody finds it valuable. But why is one a rule and is one is a hope? Is because I can't actually determine who, how many, or when somebody may find it valuable, which is to say it's out of my control. And so if your baseline criteria is, do I believe in it or not, then it goes back to this quote of being like, why the fuck would you need a secondary testimony? Why the hell would you commit to this crazy social media cadence, or this crazy, like, play the algorithm game, or this? I say it's crazy not in nature of you're crazy. I say in comparison to, I am going to try and play the game, whether I believe it or not, versus just speak when I have full conviction and belief in something. This one sounds crazier to me. Now, the counter argument for what I'm saying is, well, then, I'm not going to post as often. My business is going to die. I'm going to be irrelevant, whatever it may be. Right. And I'm by no means am I taking a political stance or a professional stance or anything when I'm about to say this, but there is a common theme in, I don't read the news anymore, but it's because the theme I was gathering is that people care way more about relevance, as in like touch points, as in, are they talking about me, than do I believe in what I'm saying? And so you have experienced this if you've used social media for more than a week, is you are going to stumble across people who get a lot of visibility, which is to say relevance, by saying outlandish fucking shit. Right? And this is going to be, I'm always kind of rambly with these kind of things, because I see it as I'm speaking to you directly, right? I'm not trying to do YouTube better than anything else. I'm trying to express myself in the most natural way, right? And so if I'm speaking to an individual across from me right now, I would tell a story that I encountered yesterday, right? Where someone I respect, who has railed against AI writing content, wrote an email. I'm on their list, and I read the front of the email, and I'm like, oh, this is great. Like, they clearly wrote this. They're saying, yesterday I experienced this, setting the scene, all that kind of stuff. I try and do that as well when I write, because I'm very much like, how close can I get the person who reads this into the same room as me? How can they occupy the space I occupied in the closest way possible? And then that was the first half of the email. And then when it came time to what I call like the turn, right? Make the point, whatever it may be, it was clearly AI for the rest of the email. And how this is determined is, you don't have a this problem, you have a that problem. And what this person deemed the most important part of the email was the AI stuff. They bolded it, right? The rest of the email that actually was their work was secondary, not bolded text, not highlighted, none of that stuff, serving this slop, this moralizing, you don't have a this problem, you have a this problem. And I look at that and say, what do you want to be known for? Right? Why is all of this relevant to this passage. My life is for itself and not for a spectacle. I much prefer that it should be of lower strain so it be genuine and equal, that it should be glittering and unsteady. Your life is for itself, of itself. So what is genuine and equal? It is saying shit you believe in, and it is saying it when you believe in it. Now, if you need more work on that, the trade-off is you have to be comfortable with not posting every day, potentially. You have to be comfortable with not just copying somebody else's genuine work and switching out the headline and the hook, right? You have to be comfortable not being a prompt master, but an actual fucking artist or creator or just laborer. There is no labor involved beyond beyond a figment of an idea that says recraft this thing, rewrite this thing. Hey, I was really inspired by this. Tell me the top points. Fucking go discover those for yourself and write it down and actually own it. Because what I don't think people are fully conscious of the consequence. And again, I'm not better than other people. I actually did this shit for a while, and it is vomit in my mouth when I think about it. Thank God I only did it as an experiment for a little while, probably like a couple months maybe, where I was the same human being as everybody else. And I was like, oh, AI is amazing. Like, wow, this is smarter than me and blah, blah, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm not talking about necessarily AI for automation or AI for, you know, I pretty much only use AI for deep research at this point, right? My company doesn't need it for anything other than that. A lot of companies could use it for other things than that. But like, I am talking about self-expression, the creative aspect, that your life is of itself, and that if you are saying shit you don't believe in, it is not of itself. It is not, it is for the spectacle. It's for something else. And I'll tell you a story, right? So I am of the opinion that people with my demeanor and kind of the way I operate can look at LinkedIn right now, as an example, as something that is, it just does not feel like a genuine place at all, right? And so I am very much I don't give a fuck attitude with it. And so I put a post on there the other day that performed way above and beyond what any other post I've had recently has. And it's my content is not for everybody. My gosh, if you were watching this video, you are either like, let's put it this way, you're not neutral, right? You either agree with me or you think I'm fucking insane, and that's good. So I put a post on there that was like, remember when LinkedIn used to show your stuff to your audience? And then I just put LOL. And of course, that I posted it and just bounced, right? I was like, none of my other shit gets seen. This isn't going to get seen either. Totally cool. Freaking fine with that. I don't have a business that relies on an algorithm, okay? Because, as an example, when he is saying glittering and unsteady, when Emerson is saying unsteady, to me, algorithm and unsteady are fucking synonymous, right? It is, I certainly can't control the algorithm. I can maybe play by its rules, but as soon as I get good at it, it's going to change again. And if you want to dedicate your livelihood to that unsteadiness, own it and understand it. I have zero desire to even start with that thinking, right? And so I put this on there, remember when it used to show to your audience? Because like it doesn't show to your audience anymore. And of course the post blows up and by my standard, and there's just full on conversations happening in the comments with other people who I've never met before saying, I love this algorithm, right? I love X, Y, and Z. I love blah, blah, blah. And it was a perfect like kind of split is half the people loved it and other people were like, yeah, it's crap. Right? My immediate thought was, are these people going to look backwards and say, one of my main accomplishments was I mastered the algorithm? We're all going to fucking die. Do we really want on our tombstone, ran a successful business because they mastered the algorithm? Is that if that's what you want, holy shit, fucking own it and shout it from the mountaintops and say and get good at it and love it. I find the majority of the people who are serving algorithms, who are serving spectacle, who are serving glittering and unsteady, don't actually fucking like it. They don't like it. And in my line of work, someone who does that is just distracted. They're not wrong. You can do whatever the hell you want. I genuinely see those people as just being more afraid of sitting still and thinking and trying to figure out, what is my life? When I say my life is of itself, what the fuck does that mean? And you're not supposed to have the answer. You are not supposed to understand that immediately. And that is why something like an algorithm, something like getting good at this other master, something like curating your life, quite literally curating your life to decide what people see and what they don't see, is just it's a much quicker feedback loop, right? You make a post, by the end of the day whether it did well or not. And in so doing, you get to delay that question. Is, life being of itself just sounds so insane to someone who is living in fear of irrelevance, who is living in fear of poverty, who is living in fear of making a wrong move. And I am over here arguing there is no other fucking way to discover who you are, what you meant to be, what you want to become, what is not for you, without actually entertaining the idea of, what am I doing this for? And when I die, what am I looking back on and saying that was worth it? I don't know anyone, and if you exist, please comment and berate me like crazy, but I don't know of anyone who is planning on their deathbed saying, I crushed the algorithm. I only showed them the good bits. I want you to be okay with yourself, all of it. You do not need a secondary testimony to live a fucking banging life. And think of it this way, right? I've moved a lot. Whether you have or not, hopefully you can identify with this. I've moved a lot. Pretty easy to make friends with people because I am absolutely an introvert, but I'm outgoing, right? In that it's like I will suppress introvertedness and just go look like a fool and, go introduce myself and just learn, right? Let's put it this way. Curiosity will always outweigh my desire to just sit in a room and talk to nobody, do nothing. And so when I moved a lot, within a short period, I'll typically make friends with people. And because I'm so just like direct and transparent and honest, like I'll tell them right away. I'd be like, yo, I really enjoy this and I'm new to this town. Like I would love to grab coffee again. And before you know, we're hanging out and having Friendsgivings or whatever it may be, right? And then I'll move again. And I won't talk to those people. And they won't talk to me. And you realize that you just had this, what I call a proximity experience. It was easy because it was close. It was easy because you could see it right in front of your face. It was easy because you were getting a short feedback loop. That person was saying, yeah, I like this too. I like coffee too. I like this conversation too. Oh, whatever. And then you put just the tiniest bit of space, 20 miles, 100 miles, 1,000 miles, and you don't fucking talk to those people. And this is how you know rare friends and worthwhile friends from like proximity friendships is where it feels the same no matter where in the world you are. And I give this as an example because I genuinely see people going through their days. And I would not say this unless I talked to not only my clients over and over, but new strangers every week. I'm grabbing coffee with 2 to 3 new people every week. And this theme, I cannot explain to you how prominent this theme is that there are so many people walking through life completely terrified of asking, what is my life for? But they're capable, and so they do, and they do, and they do, and they do. But it's for this like secondary testimony. It's for the glittering and the spectacle. Like you probably, if you internalize this, because I have this conversation a lot in various different ways. The first sentence, their virtues are penances. Well, that's the first sentence actually is, I do not wish to expiate, but to live. Expiate basically means to make amends, apologize. You know, say, hey, I got to fix this thing. Why? I talked to a founder I respect, and I don't do small talk very well. And they got vulnerable really quickly, and I'll keep it vanilla because obviously their privacy is really important. Not that I think anybody would figure out who I'm speaking of anyway, but mention just how a lot of their internal motivation is dictated by when their family was doing really, really well, and then 2008 hits, financial crisis, and everything flips. And how we are going on almost, we're 18 years later, and that is still their operating system of like, it is a lot more of, I am trying to run away from loss and scarcity and poverty instead of running towards what am I capable of? Where are areas of my life abundant already? And that's what I told this person, because earlier in the conversation, they were telling me about all the things they had done and was feeling bad about it because the reward wasn't what they expected yet. Like, it's the classic, if I work hard, then I get the reward. And I'm over here being like, I told him so. I said, I don't think you fucking sat down and looked what you've done. Everyone is always thinking, I need to look forward. I can't look backwards. I can't embellish accomplishments. I can't sit there and focus on the past. I need to always be moving, always be moving, always be moving. Not when always moving makes you more and more confused. Not when always moving forward makes you not understand why you are doing it. I was like, buddy, I know this is going to sound fucking crazy to you, but I actually think there is a reward waiting for you right now. It is not rooted in more work. I genuinely don't see that. Now, this is my opinion, and I have there are no sharp edges. This is foggy and fuzzy in terms of what it is, but my gut tells me, and my gut has spoken pretty reliably to me for a long, long time, that I think this is way less about what more can you do versus what can you remove mentally. If this is all the evidence you've created, you have done so fucking much just in the last 6 to 12 months. And this is the reward. There's something here. I swear to God, my belief is it's probably the idea that hard work equals success. Right? Or a particular success. A lot of people think, freedom is more money, more time, more energy. Fuck no. No. Those are byproducts of being truly free, if you can appreciate them. Because how many people do you know who are wealthier than you who are fucking miserable? How many people do you know who have that Instagram glittering spectacle life, and behind the scenes, you know they're not happy? This is nothing to aspire to over here. These people have a ton of assets and are completely lost. And that is not because they're bad. It is more of a tragedy than a frickin' indictment. It's just objective. And that person who you see has more than you wants to be free. And that happens here. This person I talked to has arguably, if you know, comparison is fucking useless unless you can actually like G yourself up from it. But if I told him point blank, I was like, just putting the face of your work and my work, if we're just looking at like output, you've done like 5 times what I've done. Yet I feel completely at peace and successful and so just like, I basically call it a banging life. Like I live a banging life by choice, right? And this person has all of this evidence over here, but because they are looking forward and being like reward, 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 they can't look backwards and be like, holy shit, look what I've done. Remove a barrier that says I need to keep doing more to get something. If anything, his life has proven the more I do, the less reliable the reward is. I'm not saying to do less. I'm saying to not believe I need to do more to get the thing. I work harder than I've ever worked when I'm working, but I don't work as many hours as I used to. I work on like one thing, right? I say I have a 3C business. I serve my clients. I make content like this, which I just see as self-expression in a conversation. And then I get coffee with people. That's it. And do I want to scale to the moon? Do I want to have a huge? No, I don't. I don't want those things anymore. I've had companies with employees and all that sort of stuff. Am I capable of it? 100%. Do I want it? No. And that is exactly what I mean in terms of just even that in microcosm is like, I had to keep asking myself the question, what is for me? Where's my life of itself and not for the spectacle? Where can I exist having all of me instead of having to freaking carve out only the good bits and present that? And that, to me, is freedom. The most common form of despair is not knowing who you are. Kierkegaard said that. And after hundreds of interviews with people who are dying, Bronnie Ware discovered that the top regret of the dying is that I wish I would have had more courage to be true to myself than what others expected of me. Being true to yourself means you don't need a secondary testimony. Being true to yourself, Emerson even says in here, few and mean as my gifts may be, I actually am. He is acknowledging few as in like, I can't say yes to everything and be good at everything, and mean as my gifts may be, which is to say some people, in fact, almost everybody except the 1% who really vibes with what I have to say are not going to like it. I actually am, which is to say I understand me. Do you like you? Would you be someone you would buy a coffee for or a beer for or a wine or whatever? Would you be someone you want to hang out with? Because I would argue, and I don't know you, but my guess is if you're being objective and truthful with yourself, the person who needs the secondary testimony, the person who only shares the good bits, the person who is really feels the necessity of getting good at an algorithm before knowing themselves. Like I said, getting good at an algorithm is a skill. I'd prefer you know who you are before you do it, which is scary. But I don't want you to look back on your life and be like, man, I did really good at the algorithm saying a bunch of shit I didn't believe in. You are not for everyone. Your life can only be lived by you. why would we give it away to something else first? Again, people are living in fear that the algorithm will change, that their clients will leave, that they won't make enough money. They are running away from despair instead of running towards potential. They are running away from poverty instead of running towards usefulness. Like, you just have to get to a point where you believe that if I do this for the right reason in my authentic way, not in personal branding, like bullshit marketing speech authentic way, as in like the good bits and the bad bits, if I do this in a way that is actually mine, I trust that I will get through difficult bits, good bits. I will get through difficult bits and not despair. I will get through high bits and not get an ego. I will live an authentic fucking banging life. And you do not do that by needing secondary testimony. You do not do that by living glittering and spectacle rather than ease and genuine. I desperately, desperately want this for you. It is not social media's fault. It is not the algorithm's fault. It is not where you came from's fault. It is not how your parents treated you's fault. It is not how much money you had as a kid's fault. None of you. You can look everywhere for fault. You can choose today to ask yourself scary fucking questions that actually pay out. Because even if you're crushing some algorithm right now, even if you've built an amazing following, even if you have the 100 loyal fans or whatever, whatever that is, unless you can fast forward your life and look back and say, that was why I did it, then you have only one fucking thing to solve. And that is figuring out why you do what you do so that you can live a life for itself. This is not woo-woo. Your life is a gift because you didn't pay for it. It was given to you. Don't use it serving something else. The person I talked to yesterday, I said, a man never got good at being somebody else. It's never happened. I want you to live a banging fucking life by looking at really scary shit and saying, what is it for me? What is all of it? Not just the good, not just the good, but the bad too. How do I live a life where the only thing I say is something I believe in instead of for the outcome? With the belief that if I continue to lean in and learn more about me and discover the only person I spend every fucking second of my life with, that I will get exactly what I need. When I need it. Not when I want it, when I need it. And live a banging life. Thanks for watching these videos, man. If you are all the way at the end, you already know who I am and you're not put off by this at all. Or I am, let me just acknowledge, I can handle this discomfort pretty well. This is uncomfortable. This is not comfortable. And nobody ever grew by being comfortable the whole fucking time. Emerson is so clear that I am not for everyone, and neither are you. And that is a gift. But the algorithm's not going to tell you who you are. Other people are not going to tell you who you are. Proximity is not going to tell you who you are. Your past is not going to tell you who you are. It can inform who you've been. Who are you and who do you want to be? And I doubt that you are going to look forward and say, when I'm on my deathbed, I really regretted being myself. When I'm on my deathbed, I really regretted not crushing the algorithm. Fucking doubt it. I don't think you will say that. If this life is a gift, it can go at any time. And if what I'm saying pisses you off, good. But I am not making it up when it's saying, if it can go at any time, I would rather you not keep making this massive fucking bet that you will have time to discover yourself later. You don't know that for sure. I don't know that for sure. And so This is not a lecture. It's not. It's not. It is. Trust me, it sounds that way. So maybe it is. Maybe I should just own that it's a lecture. That like, this is up to you, and you can do this. It is a lecture completely injected with full freaking belief that you have the answer inside of you already. It's just behind a locked door buried under 2 inches of dirt. And trying to get good at the algorithm is just another door until you know yourself. Know yourself and then do it. Right? Like, this is not me saying because I suck the algorithm, which I do, that you should just own sucking. No, I'm trying to get better at it. But I'm not going to sacrifice being like full conviction belief to be good at something. I'm not going to write an email where the main point is somebody else's idea. I will never ever craft again, even though I made this mistake of saying, you don't have a this problem, you have a this problem. This whole video, I suspect, is that's what it is. It's a suspicion. And I talk to these people all the time. And the theme to me is getting pretty fucking clear that it's like, we just keep delaying. The most important question is, why am I doing this? And who do I get to become when I do it? And when I die, what am I going to look back on proudly? If you believe in it, whatever it is, you're not wasting your time. If you don't believe in it, you are, objectively, whatever it is. The algorithm's not the enemy. Saying nonsensical stuff is not the enemy. It's that these things are taking place of actually discovering what you do believe in and why you do it. It's just an order. It is not one is better than the other. It's that I see really no point in getting good at anything until you actually know why you would want to get good at it. And I will tell you, as Emerson says, I want to make sure I get it right. I much prefer that it should be of a lower strain, so it be genuine and equal. And that's where we'll end the video. I promise you it will be of lower strain once you get past the scary bit. It will be. It's called this idea of things coming naturally to you. If you are just fighting tooth and nail every day to run away from something or to find meaning not of yourself and hoping that it will hit you over the head, it's not going to. This is active work to discover yourself, just to say it. But once you know who you are, it is such a lower strain. I would not have been able to produce a video like this even 12 months ago. I did not fully know, and I have strong suspicion, but did not accept the good and the bad. I was still trying to find a way to only show the good. The most common form of despair is not knowing who you are. And it is a simple choice to not despair anymore. It does not mean completely compartmentalize and forget. It means I am choosing for my next step to be one of actual authenticity and not despair, one of myself and not secondary testimony, one of lower strain that comes naturally to me because it feels genuine and authentic versus glittering and a spectacle. That is a choice. If you are looking for how that's executed, only you can know. Right? For me, it's sharing a video like this. For you, highly unlikely you're going to do it this way. It's yours. You were gifted this thing so that you can be genuine and authentic to you. and not be in fear that if I only share, if I share bad bits, that something terrible is going to happen. Life's messy in general. It just is. But if it's guaranteed to be messy, wouldn't you want that mess to be something you at least can trust yourself in, rather than feel like you need validation elsewhere? So let's end it there. I think if you understand what I'm saying, and yes, you approach a very scary thing of being like, holy shit, there is no roadmap for discovering myself, and embrace that. On the other side of that scariness is low restraint. On the other side of that scariness is never saying anything you don't believe in. On the other side of that scariness is actual, authentic friends, more energy. And I'm just of the belief, I've always had enough money. You will too. Like, it's just, the belief comes first, the outcome and the reward comes next. Well, I should say belief comes first, then the action, then those things. And people are skipping right over belief and saying, well, I just need to act, whether I believe in it or not, to get the thing. And you may very well. But then the other side of doing that without believing in all of it is being like, why the fuck did I do that? I don't want you to feel that. I don't want you to get on your deathbed and be like, what the hell was all that for? I want you to, whenever that day comes, because it's coming, there's only 3 certainties in life. We're all going to die. The only permanence is impermanence. And the whole point of this video is, the final thing is, the only thing you truly can control are your choices. I'm asking you to make the choice of putting belief first. It's an order. Because you're not lazy. If you sit still for a minute and actually ask yourself these questions, I get this all the time when I talk to people. I guess I'm not ending the video. When I talk to people and I say these sorts of things, where I'm like, I genuinely believe that you have every answer you need inside your head. It's just in that locked door under 2 inches of dirt. And I genuinely believe that if we sweep away the dirt, which is to say all the things that don't actually align with you, so that we can illuminate the door, the key just kind of fucking magically shows up. At least that's the way it's been working with my clients right now. I don't give them the answer for shit. I ask questions and all of a sudden it's like, boom, the answer's right there. And they find it. And it's so cool. But I like, a lot of times, and this is not with clients, just other people, because I can only speak one way. And so I speak like this to anybody, is when I'm like, okay, and that key is basically like trusting your gut, having full conviction, right? Which is to say, belief, faith, and trust that you're making the right decision for you at the right time to serve your future, all that kind of stuff. And I say, the best way I know how is to sit and have space and think about it, to reflect, write, just do nothing and think about these questions, not even need an answer, just ask the questions and see what pops up. And trust your gut. And it is a very common response that someone will be like, well, I guess if my gut tells me to murder my grandma, then I think you're saying, I should murder my grandma. And I hear stuff like that, or like, well, I guess if my gut tells me to just play video games every day for a week, then that's what I should do, or smoke a bunch of weed or whatever. And I'm just like, it is so funny for you to say that because you don't believe it. And that's what I told this entrepreneur yesterday. I was like, if you just fucking sat and did nothing, do you have any history behind you that says if you sit and do nothing, that you just keep doing nothing? Is there any evidence of that at all, that you will do something insanely fucking crazy, like murder somebody, or just have zero desire to do anything of substance and just sit there and do nothing? And he's like, well, no. And I go, then I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't worry about it. It's so interesting to me that people are like, well, I guess if my gut tells me to do this outlandish thing that they've never done before, like, so you would much rather say something fucking crazy like that than actually be like, just look backward. Again, this is the value of space and looking backwards. If you look at any of your history and be like, yeah, have I ever fucking spent more than 2 straight days doing nothing? No. Have I ever murdered someone before? No. Do we genuinely believe that if we create space for ourselves, that we're going to come up with a new plan that unless you genuinely believe you're a murderer or lazy as fuck right now, you will not be that in the future. What are we afraid of by sitting still for a fucking second and saying, what do I believe in? Because it's not murder and it's not laziness. Not if you're still watching this video. Give yourself the space. Be fucking honest with yourself and say, why am I only posting this if you post? Be fucking honest with yourself and say, why am I giving time to someone who makes me feel less than? Be fucking honest with yourself and say, why do I need my parents' approval to feel worthy? These are not objectively negative things. I'm saying you need to know why it matters to you. That's it. That's it. Know why it matters. Because I fucking promise you, and I do not make claims, I know this will happen because every single person who actually goes through this work has seen this happen, and it's way fucking quicker than I thought it would be. If you actually spend time and ask those questions and be completely truthful with the answers, or what, now, again, some answers don't show up right away, and they're certainly not tidy, and all answers are partial, okay? So whatever comes up, I fucking promise you that if you spend enough time with it, you will know exactly what to do next, exactly what to let go of, and feel better. You will see little glimpses of what's called a bangin' life, not an ideal life, not a successful life, a bangin' life, which is my own fucking term to say whatever feels right to you, because no person was ever successful at being someone else, ever. So please sit still and ask yourself some fucking questions. A good one to start with is, when I'm about to die, or my tombstone or whatever, what am I currently doing that I would not look back on this death experience and say, worth your time? Found myself. Uncomfortable. Just is. And I say that as someone who did a bunch of stuff that made no goddamn sense for who I am for a long time. I am not moralizing on you. I'm saying, please don't fucking wait, because the thing you're sitting in, this body you've got, was given to you, and you have no idea when it's going to fail you. And so I really would rather you not keep making this massive bet that you're going to have time to figure this shit out. You may well, but every single day you wait is just adding more and more weight on the thing. Fucking turn this ship while it's still a speedboat and not a cruise ship, because it will be a lot faster if you start now. And obviously, this is what I do for a living, right? So I'll put my work, or I'll just put my website down below. Feel free to look at that if you feel like you're the 1% of people who will see this video and not fucking hate me for it. But just please, right? Understand that you can only control one thing, and it's your choice. And so from this video, whether you fucking agree with what I'm saying or hate me, just walk away from this video saying, I choose me. I choose the only possible life I can be successful at, which is my own. And go from there. Thanks for watching. This one was crazy intense. Totally get it. I don't know when I'll be doing another video, but I know I will be. So if you're down with finding out what that one is, Feel free to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.